Welcome to the 10 things that would make Zambia great. In this 5th video, I'll share with you something interesting that we need to do and action on as a people. We need to start celebrating success. Notice all the successful people in our society. We have found a way of demonizing them and calling them names. Those that are successful, we call them Satanists, we call them thieves, we call them greedy, we call them all the bad names that we can call them. All of them. There is some level of witch hunt for those that have succeeded. Why? Because for whatever reasons, we seem to be so comfortable in poverty. We seem to be so comforted in our poverty. And we call those that have made it bad names. And it is not really that we believe that they are that. It is because we find comfort in our mediocrity if we call those that have made it bad names. Because it's like, you see, me, I am okay like this, instead of using blood money. It is just a way of comforting ourselves. So if we are to develop as a nation, this must change. We need to start celebrating success. We need to start doing that. Because you see, you cannot be demonizing medical doctors, calling medical doctors all the crazy names, calling them bad, calling them whichever names that you can call them, when you want to become a doctor. So if you want to be successful, you can't be calling those who are successful bad names. We need to embrace the need to celebrate those that are succeeding in our society. For whatever reasons, we can celebrate anyone from anywhere, provided that person is not from our neighborhood, provided that person is not from our family, provided that person is not from amongst us. We are okay celebrating them. But if it is one from amongst us, we have a problem. And normally it emanates from the point of jealousy. So if we are to succeed as a nation, we need to succeed at family level and we need to succeed at individual level. So if we are to succeed at family level and individual level, we need to embrace the need to celebrate those that have succeeded. Now, I should indicate this and confess this. I am one of those that could have grown up in an environment where we found a way of demonizing those that we are succeeding. It was all nice and all rosy. Up until, those that follow my entrepreneurship journey will know that I started with pamphlets, kioski, trading in goats, importing things in my teenage years from Botswana and South Africa. When I was 20 years old, we founded a software company with 2 other friends called Glad Tidings Software Limited, and we had a school management system which, broke the ceiling for me. So by the time I was 22 years old, we had made some good money to the point that I decided to buy trucks, invest in transport business. Now, people couldn't believe, especially those that knew me growing up, couldn't believe that a 22-year-old, 23-year-old could own trucks. Those big trucks, 30-ton trucks, the trucks you call truck and trailer. So people couldn't believe. And guess what? I was called a Satanist. And in fact, let me share this so that maybe it sinks home even further. I remember at one time, I lost my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, on a Wednesday. It should have been a Wednesday. And the burial was set to take place on a Sunday. Now, on a Monday, I had a very important meeting that I needed to attend to in France. So I was set to fly out on a Saturday. So what that meant was, if I was to fly out, then I will not be able to attend the burial. So then I talked, to the leaders and those, the big people in the family, say, no, listen up, I may not be able to make it for the burial because the meeting I was attending was extremely important. But her being my grandmother, I decided to contribute $500. Then it was about 5,000, but now it's like 8,000 kwacha, towards the funeral. Now, I was contributing that much when my other grandchildren, we Ndebelers have a lot, so we are about 100 and something. When the majority of the grandchildren were contributing 50 kwachas and 100 kwachas, and here I go on to contribute, equivalent now 8,000 a kwacha, which was quite something. Now, for me, when contributing, I was contributing on two fronts. One, this is my grandmother. Two, I felt she deserved a good send-off, her being my grandmother. Then two, I was better placed financially. So I thought, well, I could give more. To whom much is given, much is expected. So I decided to contribute that way. But then that got to be an issue. Number one, the question was, who contributes this kind of money? Who does that? Don't you see that there's something wrong here? Number two, this guy just contributed and is even flown out. He's left. Don't you realize that maybe he's actually gone to the ocean or maybe sacrificed, the grandmother, and now he's gone. There were all these talks. And you see, the talk was so toxic. It underscores one thing. We don't celebrate those that have made it. We have a way of looking at them in a particular way. Whereas others are celebrating you, those that are closer to you may not celebrate you. That was a very painful experience. And a number of people who have succeeded in different families, they have been called names. And you know yourselves who call others names. And those of you who've been called names, you know yourselves. So this is not a new story in our Zambian setup. So if we are to develop as a country, we need to embrace success. Success is the normal thing. We have demonized success to the point that we don't believe that God's children can be successful. It is only those that believe in the devil that can be successful. Now, this mindset has to change. And this change begins with yourself and myself. At your family level, what do you discuss when you are with your children? And some of you parents, you discuss some of these things with your children and you embrace this mindset of lack, this mindset of poverty, this mindset of negativity in your gossips, in your families. Why can't you talk about success in your families with the positive light? Don't you realize that this nation could be great? In your societies, if we decided to begin discussing success in good light, Zambia can turn around. But alas, we look at it in the negative light. We want it, but we want to play it the other way around. And that is why we remain where we remain. So if you are to develop Zambia, we need to embrace success. We need to celebrate success. We need to push each other for success. Maybe the world has been waiting for a time such as this, when you and I will be alive to change this narrative. Let us hold hands and change this narrative. Decide today never to be part of the gathering where people are tearing down one who is successful. Make that decision. Let the change begin with you. No one else is going to make this change except yourself. This is the message from the radical entrepreneur, and the future is bright.